All right, welcome into the Vickie Luna Show. I am excited today to bring on my friend, colleague, astrologer. She does so many amazing things, so I'm going to let her tell everything that she does because you do so many things. Kris Seraphine, thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for inviting me, Vickie. This is awesome. Yeah, and it's a good time to be doing this show for this week.
Yeah, we're going
Um,
to be talking about some good, juicy stuff. I'm excited because one of the things we're going to be talking about, astrology wise, is the luckiest day. Kris told me this, did not know this, starting January 28th on the full moon. So we'll be talking about that and whatever else comes up astrology wise, I guess. And before we get started about that, I want to ask, what do you do? How can you help people? Let's hear about you.
oh, fantastic. Thank you. Well, I am a business coach, a marketing strategist. I do intuitive tarot, intuitive astrology. I've been studying astrology for about 10 years. It's definitely more Western astrology, although I'm kind of dabbling in, um, Ayurveda and Vedic astrology and different things. But as you know, it takes years to learn a lot of these, their arts and science combined. And yeah, I'm an author. I wrote a book called Return to Enchantment. So it's really, I do a lot of work with entrepreneurs, especially heart-centered entrepreneurs and people who do healing work, who are also psychic channelers. So yeah, I kind of run the gamut with a few different things and I love it. I love what I do, like you
Awesome.
do. Like we have so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And I read your book. Your book was awesome. I actually read your book years ago before I even met you. It's funny because we both lived in the same place in Ojai. Now we're actually coastal. Now I'm in Santa Barbara and she's in Carpinteria. So well, thanks for being on the show. And I know you're always evolving. You have a lot of many different talents and stuff. So I know today's show we're going to be talking about astrology, but I'm sure your intuition and everything else will be kicking in with that too. So
Yes.
let's get started because I'm excited to hear about this. The full moon, it's Mercury retrograde. I just told Kris I woke up this morning. I'm like, what is going on energetically? It was like a cluster day. So I'm hoping that's not what this week's going to be about. But let's hear it.
Okay. So, I'm sure I don't have to put a lot of emphasis on the first 2 weeks of January were pretty tense. There was a lot of energy buildup, especially after the end of December and the end of 2020. But I think starting this past weekend, a lot of us were able to breathe easier. So, the powers that be, there were definitely timeline changes. I'm sure you felt it. I think bad things that were going to happen got averted. I really feel
Yeah.
that. I feel like there's a lot of, people like you, Vickie, me, and all these other light workers, and just I think the masses in general, when Jupiter and Saturn met in conjunction on December 21st, the winter solstice, it was basically like we knew that we were at a really critical point on the planet, that it's like it could really become a shit show. Am I allowed to say bad words?
I say everything. Let
I'm
it
gonna
rip.
get, are the
Let it
YouTube gods gonna come slap me? Um,
no. Go for it.
okay, right on. So this past weekend, I think we all kind of felt like, and then even today, this morning, they announced that California is out of lockdown. So, and I felt that this weekend. I'm like, we're going to come out of lockdown because, we're walking down the street. I know you live in, close to Santa Barbara, and there's all these businesses closing. And I'm sure in whatever town that you live in that you're listening in, that it's been kind of no fun.
Mhm.
So we're really going to see a switch this week, and I'm going to kind of go into why that is.
Yay.
So
Okay.
the luckiest day of the year. Yay! So what
Yay.
happens is on January 28th, the sun and Jupiter meet and kiss and make out and all those other good things. So what you want to think of this as, it's like the sun and Jupiter are like some of the largest bodies, planetary bodies in our solar system. So the sun represents self-expression, who you are at your core, what you came here to do, your purpose, who you're, and it's partially who you're becoming and how it's unfolding. And Jupiter is all about luck, expansion, good fortune. Um, it's
Oh, this
also
sounds
considered the
beautiful.
guru planet.
Right.
It represents um, it also represents father energy, and this, we talk about siring, so desire, the fathering or engendering of desire. So um, whenever we see Jupiter and the sun come together, we know there's going to be change, and it's going to be change for the better.
Oh, that's good news.
So this is happening at 9 degrees Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign of the masses, humanity, technology, innovation, the internet, rebellion, unique or quirky individuals, and those kind of unique or quirky characteristics in your own personality.
Okay. So if you're
So,
Aquarius, then you'll probably even feel it even more. I mean, is if you were
oh yeah,
Aquarius, you're going to have even more of this luck. Because I know Aquarius are
exactly.
masochists.
Well,
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's more of this luck. It's just going to fall in their first house. So
Mhm.
if you're an Aquarian sun sign or Aquarian rising, you're going to definitely feel like it's for Aquarius, it's going to be like you're in the spotlight. You are looking beautiful and abundant to everybody. And when you look beautiful and abundant, right? We work with goddesses. We know
Right.
you're lucky.
Right.
You're not lucky when you're walking around like a schlub. So, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Right. So then maybe
Um,
on the luckiest day, we should all be dressed in our best and feeling the best.
oh,
For
absolutely.
something. That might be a great,
Yeah, I mean,
great
I'm
day.
like all about wearing the gold jewelry. So I mean, if it's silver jewelry, fine. It's just about adorning yourself. Now, Venus comes into play. There's some other things happening on this day. This is not just the only thing happening on the luckiest day of the year. So we'll go into number 2. We have a Leo full moon on the same day, 9 degrees Leo. So Leo and Aquarius are opposite signs. So now, what does that mean? And a lot of people have said, well, does that cancel out the luckiest day? And I'm going to say no, it's not going to cancel it out. What we're looking at is when you have, I'll go more into Leo in a minute, but just I wanted to talk a little bit about oppositions because it's kind of maybe something that the general person might not know about unless they really study astrology.
Yeah, I don't know.
And an opposition means that there's a need for balance. So, we know that Leo is a very fiery sign. Um, it rules the entertainment industry, it rules celebrities, it rules being in the spotlight, it rules fun and play. So that's why now we're starting to see, we might start seeing lockdowns come out around the United States, maybe around the globe, because Leo's about play, fun, romance,
Nice.
taking risks, putting yourself out there, which again, if you put yourself out there on the 28th, between now and the 28th, any of these days, because it's already in activation. It's such a big energy that it probably has been activated for 6-7 days
Wow.
already.
Okay, cool.
So we're all going to start feeling like more optimistic. Um, and more looking towards the future. That's the other thing, is
Oh,
to stop worrying about the past. When worry thoughts come up, you know this, you could probably speak to that energy. Worry, the past bullshit that comes up, you don't want to,
you don't want to
you
focus on that.
yeah, you let it go through your mind. You don't have to resist it. Those worries and feelings may come up because, like I said, there is an opposition happening at the same time. So I would just say balance you know, um, your big dreams with how to break them down into practical steps. Kind of stuff like that. So with these kind of aspects, we're going to have a higher rate of success on all our short-term goals and long-term goals.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you are like the expert woman goddess on manifesting.
Yeah.
So this
So
is
this is
something you can.
a super lucky manifesting energy that I feel when just tapping into the sun sign, which will really bring to peace to and attract if you're really focusing on what you want. And I want to ask a question here too, because when you say put yourself out there, I think a lot of people don't understand that, or what you're saying. Does that mean get out of your comfort zone and try something new? Or if you have like this big launch thing and you're like, oh, I just don't know if I should spend the money or not. And it's like, yeah, do the money. Is it more of taking a gamble, take a risk? Like, what do you mean by that?
I would say, if we're looking at the kind of the traditional manifesting, techniques that you would talk about, I would definitely say initiate between now and Friday.
Take
So
action.
definitely, you want to initiate something. That could be like making the first phone call towards something, or if you want to launch something, writing the first email or the blog that you would use to promote it, or the first social media. Now, I would then wait, like I would prepare now the next 4 days. Thursday, then, just put out a teaser or call your best friend, just circulate it out there, because you're really then committing to it. But make sure it's something you want to commit to, because whatever you commit to is going to be at least a year out that you're going to be focused on it.
Oh,
Now,
good.
that doesn't mean you won't get a windfall on Thursday or Friday. You could totally get a windfall. Everybody's chart's different. So where this actual um, conjunction happens in each individual chart is going to determine their type of luck and where they would be most lucky. This is kind of giving it just a general, collective reading on it. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally does. And I love how you say restrictions are coming out and people are starting to play, and you think that that's going to happen all over the world, which is amazing. So, one of my questions is with this astrology wise, so they come out and play, luckiest day. And then we have Mercury going in retrograde. We were going to touch a little bit base on this. So, moving forward in this lucky day, this lucky energy, does it stay this way, or does it kind of backtrack a little bit because of Mercury going retrograde?
Yeah. So let's say you want to be lucky in love. You want love or new relationship. That's one of the top things on my list. Um, you don't wait until Mercury goes retrograde to, join maybe an online app, or, get out in your neighborhood now that lockdown is going to come out. Hey, maybe go to that wine bar. And maybe you'll be sitting outside, but you might meet somebody, right? I
Right.
know we met one time outdoors, and, there's just be creative, because Leo also rules creativity.
Okay.
Um, and then what you want to remember is this energy for the luckiest day is most concentrated on Thursday and Friday of this week. So that's January 28th and 29th. The
During the
next
full moon
day,
too.
yeah. And the next day is Mercury stations retrograde, and that begins almost a whole year of retrogrades. We have wall to wall retrogrades. So let's break this down a little bit so people don't go, oh, shit. Oh,
That's what
no.
I'm thinking. Like, what? Retrogrades
So,
can also be
so
good.
what I'm going to tell you and tell our people listening right now, um, just initiate even the first step. You can make an announcement, just show the universe you're committed. Thursday or Friday. Come Saturday, we know that things are going to slow down, things are going to go wonky, but it'll be a really perfect time to slow down and work on the details of whatever your plan is, whatever it is you're launching, whatever kind of creative project. It's like, okay, now we have to apply the practical magic. Now it's time to get down to business.
Right.
Um, but yeah, this is all about having a lot of joy and bringing that joy vibration to something you really want to see manifest. So since the Leo full moon is Thursday, then what we'll see happen is the between this full moon and then I would say probably 6 to 7 months from now, if you, let's say you're starting something brand new, probably 6 to 7 months from now is when it'll really like bang, explode, get out there, but you're just putting all this big energy behind it
Okay. To get it
now.
started, to launch off, it feels like it's all right. And knowing that behind things that you can't see, if you work with the energy of hope and moving it forward, it will it will eventually manifest, even if there could be setbacks from other things. And know those setbacks could be in your, I mean, setbacks are always in your highest good, but knowing that it's just not like, I feel like a lot of people think that just because it's the luckiest day, that means that day everything's just gonna cut all your dreams of having that multi-million dollar home with that amazing relationship, everything's just going to come to you that day. It could, totally not saying it
Yeah,
can't, but it's more about putting the energy to that, to get ready for it to manifest and bring in that energy in that way.
exactly. I mean, you could get like a phone call on Thursday or Friday saying, hey, I'm this publisher or I'm this agent and I noticed you, like, there is going to probably be stuff out of the blue,
And
or somebody that you've had a crush on for years calls you or sends you a text on Facebook Messenger, something, something will probably happen. There will be like a, ooh, like your little antenna will go up and it's very attractive energy.
awesome.
And we also have Venus meeting Pluto on the 29th. So I think it's like the day after. And so we're going to start feeling this sooner. So Venus represents love and money, mostly beauty.
Hmm.
She rules Taurus and Libra. So you're a Taurus. So you might be feeling this already, but feeling you do. So Venus and Pluto is all about a transformation in money, income, wealth, beauty, and love relationships. So we're
And it
going to
sounds like it'll be
feel,
a good transformation for everyone, like with the luckiest day of all.
yes, exactly. So it's a transformation that Venus has her own cycle that, when people really study it, and this is a topic for maybe another podcast, but that Venus goes through all the gates of each of the chakras as she moves through the sky. Each sign represents the different chakras and different degree points. So she just recently went through, I know, the root chakra. That was probably around the new moon, January 11th or 12th. So she activated the root chakra gateway, which is all about, stability. And I think that's what we all kind of felt like we needed around the whole inauguration and all of that. We, especially in the United States, and maybe, we are watched by the rest of the world. So I think we're transforming all of that to become more stable with the changes that are happening. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a Taurus. I love stability. Well, I know one thing everybody's going to want to ask, and me especially right now too. You said we have a whole year of retrogrades. Can we touch a base just what that means? And even a lot of people don't even know what retrograde means. So when something goes retrograde, which we have Mercury going retrograde here soon, what does that necessarily mean?
So it basically means, and it depends on the planet. So Mercury is a fast moving planet. So Mercury retrogrades, I feel like, are more pesky. You know, when you have Venus is going to retrograde through Capricorn in December, the end of the year. But before that, I think Jupiter retrogrades, Saturn retrogrades, everything retrogrades pretty much, starting, I think, April or May. So the Mercury retrograde ends at the end of February. So we might have a little time in March, maybe in April, before we get more of that energy. But what you want to think about in a retrograde is, especially Mercury, it's about communications, writing, speaking, the internet. So technology things kind of go awry. They tell you not to make big purchases. Likewise, when Venus is in retrograde, you definitely don't want to schedule plastic surgery. You don't want to plunk a whole lot of money on jewelry and makeup, because you'll be like, oh, I got the wrong things. Or everything that you bought at full price will go on sale when the
Okay,
Venus retrogrades. So yeah, there's just, or, they say don't get married during a Venus retrograde either.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a happy place for Venus. So it's all about reviewing, renewing, revisiting, revising. Um,
I'm
and I
hearing reset. So it sounds like this year is a year of reset. And it sounds like when you go through this retrograde, and for us going through so many, maybe it's time through that time of resetting our beliefs or the way of doing things, because we're in Aquarius times now and it's a new beginning. So do you think that's a part of the theme this year is reset and rejuvenate, restart with the retrogrades going on?
Yeah, I feel like 2020, we all were like at a standstill because of COVID, because of all the government stuff and the elections. Um, Everything kind of came to a standstill, and 2020 was a big, big retrograde year. So we're going to have a similar thing, but what we're doing now is we're integrating the new energy, because 2022 is when everything takes off. So we're laying the groundwork for what we really want to see take off in 2022. Um, I think in April of 2022, we might have some echoes of stuff that happened in 2020. Um, so there might be some review spots in 2022, but I think in general, we're going to really feel the new energy and be integrated with it by then.
So for the next couple of months, because we're at the end of January, we have a whole bunch of new change, and then we have Mercury retrograde. When is it going retrograde? Do you know?
Saturday, the 30th.
Saturday until, so that's what
So about a month.
a month. Okay.
So the end of February.
So what do you then, astrology wise, I mean, what do you see going forward for until springtime?
What I think is a lot of people are going to come back from our past, past relationships, past lovers, past jobs. I had my past employer actually, like yesterday or the day before, text me out of nowhere. That was interesting. So it's interesting with this retrograde energy and then the luckiest day of the year. Luck could come through someone that you knew from the past, or someone or a job that maybe you wanted a year ago, or an object or a goal that you had a year ago might really like just boom, come right into play this week.
And that happens during Mercury retrograde. Every time during Mercury retrograde, always my ex-boyfriends, like, I'm like, I haven't talked to you in like 15, 20 years. And they just seem to come out of the woodwork, or even just old friends and things like that too. I have noticed that always just happens. So maybe this one, we're going to be a little bit more deep in that of the past coming back in.
Yeah, and there could be luck coming through those things because of this luckiest day of the year energy. And I see that happening in my life in a few different areas, actually, in work, because before I even had my last job, I was, I had a lot of clients, and if I don't know if you're self-employed or if you're some people are looking for work right now, and they're like, well, do I take a new job in Mercury retrograde? Yes, if it's with someone you've worked with before, or it could be a new company. Maybe someone you knew from an old company called you from the new company. Totally fine. There's got to be just a connection to the past somehow,
Okay.
and it'll be smooth. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. Awesome. And then as far as economy wise, us, obviously we just moved into a new year. We have COVID. We have, like you said, California's been lifted. So do you see this being sticking for the worldwide, where we will be lifted, or do you feel it will continue to be lifted? Or, is there going to be like a second wave of something? Could you see that happening?
Here's what I'm seeing, that I think it's going to be relatively quiet, and I don't think there's going to be much of a dip at all in the economy or in the housing prices. I think might be a little bit, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of expansion. However, like I said, once we get into 2022 and we have these kind of, I would say, repeat of lessons of 2020, there could be another thing that would lock us down or that would slow things down on a global level again. Maybe that could be economy, world economies going through. I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of expansion. there's going to be a contraction at some point. There always is. It's a cycle.
But you think
Um,
2021 will be as you don't feel like because my concern is we get a teaser, we get everybody all happy and we're like, yes, especially here in California, we've been locked down for so long that you're going to have a lot of people super happy and get out there. And then everybody gets out there and then everybody's like, okay, this is cool. And then boom, something like destroys our hope again, or just like, okay, we need to close down again. Do you see that, or we're just going to stay open? And then you think 2022 will be the time that we do that? Like, do you feel like 2020, do you feel like now we're just going to be like free roaming and people are going to feel, like travel will pick back up? And I know there's going to be new laws with the traveling, which they already started talking about, but do you feel that people are going to start staying with that hope and everything's going to open up and it's just going to get better and better and better, or it's going to be a slow process, or it could go back and forth for a while?
I don't know about the back and forth. I'm thinking it might be open for a while and pretty expansive energy. I'm not feeling a lot of contraction at all right
Oh,
now. And the astrology is not really showing contraction. It is showing that, yeah, just staying in balance, like, be optimistic, but, don't go overboard. Don't, be foolish about things like, oh my God, I just got this big giant, thing of money, and then don't go spend it all, especially during the Mercury retrograde. You'll be sorry if you do. But, just knowing that, yeah, I've got to have some sort of plan for just in case there is a little bit of a turnaround, right? So that's really a big part of this. It's like being optimistic and, believing in your dreams and staying positive, but not, like out to lunch kind of positive. You know what I mean? Where people
right,
just like don't want to see the facts.
right. No, and with the United States too, because there's so much change going on. So astrology wise, does it show like tremendous change because we are in a new time, new way? Is there going to be like so many rules just changing, and new laws, new rules, or is that do you feel it's going to go along the similar way that it's been going now that we have a new president?
I mean, I know he's initiating a lot of things in office. So I think, like I said, because the chart for the United States, there's definitely some echoes to 2020 in April of 2022. Maybe, we might start to feel that sooner, and even in the new year of 2022. So we'll probably get a taste of maybe just some slowdown or a bigger change happening the end of this year. But I think between now and then, it's going to be kind of like a steady kind of incline. And then come December, it might level off and then start to go, maybe dip back down.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, it would be good to look at, as, prices may go down on certain like um, investments and stocks. Like really, if you want to invest, look at buying the less expensive stocks. And because we're going to see a lot of, especially digital currencies with Uranus and Taurus over the next whatever year. Is it another year that it lasts? But they're going to really be climbing. Um, and
So
then, but they're
now
very volatile.
so that's the crypto, and that's the change because they've been talking about possibly changing our money system. And so that would be something like that to invest in, or you're talking like the crypto. I don't understand it all, but there's the crypto and the money. So you're seeing the economic way of money changing within astrology. Does it show that?
Yeah, well, it started happening in 2020, actually 2019 is when the digital currency really kind of came into focus even more, I think, to just the general public, because people are like, what the hell is this? And why should I care? And now we're like, yeah, we need to care about this because that's the way the tide's turning.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's great for you to bring up too, because a lot of people have been asking about, finances and money. So and you kind of got to let go. Isn't this year the year where you got to let go of all the past? It's a reset. It's a restart of new birthing, pretty much. And so with that, you
Yeah.
said technology. I heard you say technology, this year of technology too. So with technology, that will enter into all areas of our life pretty much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Money, finances, medical, health, all of that, they're going to be changing systems like how they track, people even getting COVID is going to be, probably tracked on a blockchain, which again is like it's not a brand new technology, but it's one that is getting more adopted because it's very transparent and there's no way to lie about anything. You can't. So they're probably changing voting systems. Like there's a lot of technology companies working on blockchain applications for voting, for healthcare, finances, and it's a lot more secure from hacking and stuff like that. And it's also, again, more transparent. So, and more truthful reporting, so to speak, of
So that
fact.
goes with the truthful, because I've been seeing this year is the year of the truth. So truth will come out. When it comes to tracking, though, I know a lot of people are going to be about this too. So that when you said COVID, they'll go into a block system and they'll be tracking. So isn't that also, I feel, especially for me, because I'm the free spirit here, is, I don't want people to be able to track me or be able to be a part of that system where, they're spying on you in all ways and everything. So do you see that being more of a, where people are not going to feel so free?
I think
Where some people could be,
there,
it could be
yeah,
like celebration.
a lot of people don't want to get tested for that reason. They feel like for COVID per se, a lot of people are anti-vaccine. Um, and I'm getting that I don't think they're going to enforce vaccines. Some people are connecting it to travel and plane. I mean, each individual country can come up with their own laws about, do we let people in without being tested? Do we test them at the airport? All that kind of stuff. And I think we're going to see a lot of variety, but overall, I think in the next year and a half, it's going to standardize. Like I think there's going to be, I don't know if it's the United Nations, I don't know who really talks about those things like on a worldwide basis. Let's have one rule for the world around vaccines and travel. So in that way, people might feel restricted if there's a law certainly put into place.
Right.
But I think that the laws are going to still stick to, especially in the United States, to the Constitution. There's a lot of astrology pointing to that the Constitution is going to become more and more important in their in adherence to people's liberties. So
Okay.
actually, we might feel more free than we have in the past couple of years.
And so, leading to one of the last questions I want to ask you about, because there is so much division right now in United States with, COVID and politics and all of that. And there's still a lot of division, even though we just had the new president come in here. So, with that being stated, the astrology wise, do you see this division continuing or getting more upward the more rules and laws that come into place? Or is there going to be, people coming back together? What does astrology wise, how does that look?
The astrology is not really showing um, any sort of rebellion um, on on the levels that we saw last year and in early January. But early January was, again, we were still in 2020 energy. Um, so we're still actually, we're still not completely out of 2020 energy, but we are forging the new energy. So wherever, especially in this luckiest day of the year, the luckiest week of the year, anything that you want to have happen on a worldwide level, put it out there. And I think the more that we do put forward that we want to remain free citizens of the world, and everybody have this freedom of choice, because some people might do fine with the vaccine, some people may not want that vaccine to come near them. So, but that I really believe that that should be individual liberty. People should decide for themselves.
Right.
Um, and there should be a way that the world and travel accommodates that. They have to, because I think it's against human rights to make people do vaccines when they don't want to do them.
Totally. So, one last tip before we leave here on the luckiest day, super excited this. For those people out there, when you say put it out there, just give them one tip on how whatever their desire is or what they're wanting to bring to life and to bring more lucky. What would that be for you? What are you going to do to bring forward on your luckiest day? What are you going to do?
I'm going to do, well, before that, I'm going to really have that list of what I want, really prioritize it to what am I really, really asking the universe for? And I'm sure I'll have 10 things. It doesn't matter if you have one or 10, definitely have at least one and really ask. It's about asking for yourself. Ask for yourself because so many of you, I'm sure, pray for the world, meditate for the world, do it for yourself because this is, you know, also we have, like I said, Uranus and Mars in Taurus. That's all about valuing the self. And that's a big lesson throughout all this year and into next year is valuing the self. If you don't value yourself, you're not going to make money. You're not going to manifest anything.
Right.
And the universe is going to bitch slap us if we start not loving ourselves or not valuing ourselves. And we'll feel it, like we'll get immediate repercussions. If we do make a decision based on lack of self-worth, we're going to be hit with some, not karma, but just like a situation that makes us really learn from it. There'll be lessons.
Great tip. So your tip then is that asking, is it going to, are you going to write out a list and then meditate on it, talk to your goddesses, talk to spirit? Like who are we going to be? Are you going to do a ritual burning ceremony? Like what is your, what
Yeah.
is your
And
luck?
then, like you said, go out of your comfort zone. So that might mean, God, I've always wanted to call that guy or girl, or I've always wanted that kind of job, and I always wanted to work for like this company. Like, for example, when I was in my 20s, I used to live right near the E building. Remember the E Entertainment building where you said the giant E on the top, E. And I used to walk by that every day and dream, like, wouldn't it be cool to work there? And then one day I was like, maybe I should just ask. So I literally called, I talked to the receptionist. Who do I talk to get a job there? So, what is that dream job or the dream publisher, dream agent? Reach out to somebody. So make a move.
Take
So you
action.
can't just ask the universe, you have to make the move too.
Take action.
It's
Okay.
just one simple move. All right.
Thank you so much for everything. And how can people get in touch with you?
Awesome. My website's called mythicrhythm.com, or you can go to Kris Oster, OSTER.com. I have a lot of different ways. I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram, and I have a Patreon group. I have two Patreon groups, one for Goddess Circle and one for my Mystery School 111, which is my birthday. And people come to study astrology and tarot, and then I do readings and teach them Akashic records and some other fun things. So that's what I'm doing.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. And cheers
Thank
to the lucky
you.
day. I'm excited
Yay.
to see what shows up that day. Thank you for being on my show.
Thanks, Vickie. Bye.
Bye bye.